Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of ADvice. My name is Steve Freeland. I'm the co-chair of the Advertising and E-commerce Practice Group here at Gordon Reese. And I wanted to talk with you briefly, under 5 minutes, about some important TCPA things involving AI and some updates about what's going on down in the Lone Star State of Texas. So let's get going. Um, so we've seen a big uptick in usage across the industry, both by our clients and others, in terms of using AI on outbound for marketing purposes. Why? I mean, it's simple. It's cheaper than a live agent, and it's so advanced that it sounds like a live agent very eerily in some circumstances. So, what are the legal risks for using it? Well, the TCPA actually expressly covers artificial voice technology. It prohibits calling using an artificial or pre-recorded voice to deliver a message without the prior express consent of the called party. Um, does that mean AI for outbound? Well, let's assume it does, and here's why. Statutory damages, $500 per violation call. All right, so how do we get around this? And you don't want to be the test case. How do we get around this? It's simple. Get prior express written consent from the called party before using AI on outbound. And it's got to contain the consent language has to contain some magic language. It's got to contain the phone number of the called party that's consenting. And then here's the important part, must clearly capture the agreement to auto-dial pre-recorded and artificial voice technology for marketing purposes from the caller. And that consent is not required as a condition to purchase anything. I've seen a lot of companies mess this part up. Everything else is perfect, but this language is not in there. In certain, sort of lead gen circumstances, it doesn't make sense to have it in there. Like if I'm going to a website and saying, yes, lead generator, get, have 10 people call me to offer me, a new car insurance deal. I understand that me providing my phone number to them doesn't mean I'm consenting as a condition to any purchase. I'm just consenting to get the offer, not to purchase anything. Nonetheless, it's got to be in the consent language because the statute says so. And then the signature of the called party that's providing the phone number and agreeing to all this stuff and electronic is certainly sufficient. Very important, save your records of consent. Work with your dialing platforms on this. Statute of limitations for the TCPA is 4 years from the date of the last call or text. Missouri's is 6, so the floor is 4. Best practices would be 6 across the board to cover Missouri and to cover any other states that have a longer statute of limitations. Here's some bonus TCPA stuff. Remember the calling time restrictions. These are called the quiet hours within the TCPA. Under the TCPA, you can only call between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. Here's the important part, the times under the call party controls. So I'm from Maryland. I have a 301 area code. If I'm in California on business and it's, 6 a.m. out there, but someone I've consented to, receive messages from, text me at 6 a.m. thinking it's 9 a.m. On the East Coast, there's at least an argument that that's a violation text. It's not written in stone, but there's at least an argument. So, again, work with your technology platform providers to turn on the necessary tools to govern the call and time restrictions. Most of them have these, so just work with them to turn them on. Also, another important point, several states have their own calling time restrictions. They're sometimes more restrictive than the TCPA, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. And they also restrict calls on holidays and weekends. So again, work with your vendors on this to make sure that they've got the tools turned on, that you're dealing with these quiet hour restrictions. Finally, don't mess with Texas. They recently amended their state level mini TCPA. It goes into effect September 1, 2025. It expressly covers text messages. Important point is there's going to be a big uptick in litigation by the plaintiffs bar against companies that might be perfectly complying with all of the other strictures of the law. They're getting consent, they're opting people out when they text back stop. But there's a registration requirement that the plaintiffs bar is definitely going to latch onto. And so the important thing here is you need to register because it's $5,000 per violation call or text. There are a lot of exemptions that might apply to your business from the registration requirement, and we could certainly navigate you through those. But it's at the end of the day, it's going to be safer to register at least in the near term, and let other people go and be the test case. So that's all I've got for today. I thank everyone for their time, and I hope everyone's doing well. Talk soon. Take care.